with Brazil and South American countries, and Brazil, you think of the Jesus statue, and you think about the influence of the Roman Catholic Church in countries like Brazil. Is the Catholic Church, what is the Catholic Church doing in response to sex trafficking? Do you see the Catholic Church doing any good in that regard? Any sort of charities or anything?
So what people don't realize is there's different forms of Catholicism. So American Catholicism is different than Brazilian Catholicism, and the reason is this: a lot of slaves were brought to Brazil in the different ports of Brazil. So you have such a mix. And what happened is they brought this witchcraft called macumba, and macumba is a witchcraft, and so it's not. So they mix the two. So
because we like Mexicans do Santa Maria and stuff like that.
Yes, and
like
so it's a version, but if you go, it's even
that's like an
more,
African.
Yes, it's an African witchcraft.
Okay.
So it's different, and so for example, so there was this area that the area that we've targeted that is like it's the greatest region of child exploitation. I've been to like what would you call that? A graveyard site where they did child sacrifices and where the women would have abortions and bury the babies there, and then that whole village is known for miscarriages because of that, and like just crazy stuff going on. Like I went there and I just prayed over that place and I said, not one more drop of blood will be spilled on this ground. This ground will not receive.
And it's witchcraft rituals, right?
Witchcraft rituals in the name of Catholicism, and so that's why they mix it. So they mixed it when they came. And so this is what they're doing. They're sacrificing their children. They're performing abortions. They're doing this and putting it in those areas. And I saw these witch doctors, but this area in particular, which is the area that little girls sell their bodies for rice and beans, sell their bodies to fill their refrigerator. This area, there was this big, huge, and it's some Padre Cicero is his name, and he has a statue that's even bigger than, it's like huge. I would say it's about the size of the Jesus statue in Rio. It is huge, is humongous. So nobody knows Jesus, but everybody knows Father Cicero. And so we went up there to go and see and really understand, and they took us around this area and they start showing us, these are all these pictures of Father Cicero, this is all these things, and I start seeing all these, it's like a stained chapel and all this stuff. So I'm looking for the Jesus cross, and so because I'm like, surely there's a Jesus cross, and surely at the end of this we're going to get to the Jesus story, but there's not. There's Mary, there's everything else, but everything is Father Cicero. And they started to show us, and this is the room that when they would bring the different children there and different stuff, and they're like, he was their Jesus. And so we get to the end of the chapel, in the chapel, and I'm still looking around. So the tour lady, and she lights up when she talks about him. So the tour lady, I start talking to her and I said, I see what Father Cicero has done for the community, different things, but I want to ask you, I don't see a cross with Jesus. Like, do you, can I ask you? And I started asking her things about Jesus. And then I eventually realized, I said, so you're Catholic. Do you believe in Jesus? And she shook her head no. And she said, I believe in Father Cicero. And so I started to tell her about Jesus, and I started to tell her all these different things. And this is like, it's a huge thing on a hill. This is a huge chapel church on the hill. And so so I start talking to her, and I start putting I put my hand on hers to say, do you want this Jesus? And I put my hand on hers and I said, do you want this Jesus? And literally she said, get off me. Like it like came out of her, like, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And so it is crazy, but it is not, when you ask that, it's so different there because it is mixed with the witchcraft there. And so, and that came when when they brought Macumba, when they brought that on there. So so they are a part of it. They are part of this mentality. They're part of it, but not in the traditional Catholicism. It's in their Catholicism is mixed with witchcraft in most of the places that I've been.